The next section is OneDrive for Business. In the previous one, we went through some of the questions on SharePoint Online, Exchange Online. Exchange Online is a email service. SharePoint Online is a Teams or organizational wide document repository. Let's learn about what is OneDrive for Business. I kind of told a couple of times OneDrive for Business is for personal storage. So let's see what are the questions we are going to handle here. This particular question, the interviewer is trying to gauge your understanding on how OneDrive for Business is differ from OneDrive for Personal. So I'm sure you already know that there is a service out there called OneDrive, just OneDrive. You can use it for your personal cloud storage. I don't know how much GB you get at the moment. When I signed up maybe 15 years ago, I got like around 5 GB. I'm sure it is increased right now, but that is a personal storage. But OneDrive for Business is something similar with a bit more control and more storage and things like that. That is catered towards storing your organizational business data. So you may have the files and folders which you use for your day-to-day work, like Excel, Word, a video file, or whatever it could be, and you want to keep it in a cloud storage so that anything happens to your device, you can always restore from the cloud. Then you should be potentially looking at using OneDrive for Business. So the question is like, how is it different from each other? Let's populate the answer first before I help you understand. All right, so first and foremost, you're going to talk about, hey, OneDrive for Business is a cloud-based file storage and synchronization service that is part of Microsoft 365. So if you're not quite sure about what is this synchronization service, so when you install this OneDrive for Business on your mobile device or your Mac device or Windows device, you have an ability to access these files which is stored online, or you can keep some of the files on the local device and some synced in the cloud. So all of that synchronization activity, or you can always keep certain files on your local device and the copy or the delta changes will be always replicated to the cloud. So all of this is synchronization. So that is what it means by this synchronization service. So OneDrive for Business is a cloud-based storage service, and the synchronization service that is part of Microsoft 365. It allows users to store, access and share files securely from any device. That is a perfectly crafted response. I don't think we would be able to read like this exactly, but use the essence of what it is put down in this particular sentence. Now let me show you the main differences. Right, the first one, the OneDrive for Business, and the right hand side you can see OneDrive Personal. So OneDrive for Business is for work related file storage. When you subscribe to the Microsoft 365 service, you will get access to OneDrive for Business. You can store your work related file in OneDrive for Business. You get, I think, 1 TB with the enterprise plan. So that is quite a lot of data. The storage for OneDrive Personal is for your personal use. So when you have the Hotmail or Outlook account, you can sign up to the Microsoft account, and then you will get a personal storage account to keep your personal stuff in the cloud. Who owns the OneDrive for Business? Your organization owns the control and the retention and the settings of OneDrive for Business. The settings and what need to be uploaded, what need to be deleted, the conditions and things like that for OneDrive for Personal is owned by you as an individual user. Let's look at the collaboration. When you use OneDrive for Business for your work, because it is integrated with your SharePoint and Teams, it is easier for you to share some documents or files or whatever you have in your OneDrive for Business seamlessly within your organization, because it has that deep integration with other components of Microsoft 365. Wherein if you look at the personal one, you only get the basic file sharing. From a security and compliance point of view, because it's a organizational wide personal storage, you get additional enterprise grade security, data loss prevention, access control policies which you can apply on top of it, so that it can prevent the user from accidental leakage of this data, or retention, so that you can retain certain amount of data for compliance purposes, things like that. For the personal one, you only get the standard encryption sharing option. So, understanding all of this, you need to put together a frame of sentence to explain this particular question. Like, you tell that, hey, OneDrive for Business is for enterprise usage, where I can store the data for my work related stuff. OneDrive for Personal is for my personal storage, and yada yada. Question number 42. The question is a particular team. At this time, it is a sales team who want to access their work files offline. So that's a keyword. So they want to access these files offline when they are traveling. How can they do this in the OneDrive for Business? All right. So first and foremost, you need to know that if that is even possible. If that is possible, how is it possible in the OneDrive for Business? So let me show you how you can answer this particular question. First, install the OneDrive sync application. So this is basically the OneDrive application which you can download and install, because particularly this particular user want to access this file offline. So how do you access online? You can always go to OneDrive online link, and you will be able to see all the files you have uploaded to the cloud, and you will be able to access and open and modify and all things like that. But if you are on travel and you don't have internet connectivity, but at the same time you still want to access that data within your OneDrive, once you install it, then you have an ability to sync these files to the local drive or local device. You can say that, hey, keep it always on the local device, or just use it, select certain files and download it to the local file. And the third point is you can use these files on demand as well. So that means you can save space by keeping these files online until it's needed. So you don't have to download all the files. You can selectively select few things to be on demand, and rest everything you can keep it on your device. So let me show you how it is done. So if you go to your device, let's see if I have OneDrive on this device. I don't have, so I can install OneDrive here. So this is the sync app we were telling. So because I installed it just now, all I have to do is probably sign in with my organizational account, and sometimes it can automatically pick up the account based on the sign in user on this account as well. All right, so it is asking me to sign in. So here, instead of my personal account, I can put in my organizational account and click on sign in. And now you can see that the icon have changed into blue. Let's provide the password as well. Sign in and click next. And that's where it is going to store this file. Now it is asking, do you want to sync from your local PC, your documents, pictures, and desktop to the OneDrive? I'm saying no, and click next, next, later, and open my OneDrive folder. So now when I open the OneDrive folder, I can see that there are lots of information in my OneDrive cloud versions. You can see that the cloud status is showing as just empty cloud. So if this is the particular document, or these are the set of files I always want to keep offline, maybe because I'm working on it while I'm traveling, I can right click on it and I can say that always keep on this device. So now what it is doing is you get these green tick boxes. That means that you have a local copy of that along with a cloud copy. So if I want to open this, even if I don't have the internet connectivity, I can say open, always open in Word. Now it will load that document faster because it is not only coming from the cloud. It has a local copy as well. So that's how you can keep a few files locally and few files on demand. I can always access, if I go to the online version, if I go to my OneDrive and I click on this OneDrive, this is the SaaS based service, so I don't have to install any application. Now I can go here, click on my files, and I can see all the files in my OneDrive. I can from here share it with anybody. All sort of things what we have learned in the SharePoint is applicable here as well. All right, so I hope you understood a bit more than what you knew before. Let's look into question number 43. Which of the following statements about OneDrive for Business is false? So we are trying to eliminate certain things we know about OneDrive for Business and figure out which one is not right. So OneDrive for Business provide 1 TB or more for cloud storage per user. That is correct, because I kind of told you many times. Like if you want to know more about it, you can click on this link or other links or search for OneDrive for Business and find in-depth information about it. But it does provide 1 TB or more for your personal storage within your organization. Second is files stored in OneDrive for Business are automatically backed up to an external Microsoft data center. Correct. So anytime when you upload a file to OneDrive for Business or you move any information to OneDrive for Business, will be automatically stored and backed up for you in an external Microsoft data center. So in case there is no internet connectivity, you can always keep it offline, or if you lose a local copy what you have, you can always fall back to the cloud storage what you have put in the data. The next one is OneDrive for Business allows file sharing with external users based on organizational policies. 100% right. We just now saw an example where you can select a file and you can share it with anybody. When you try to share it, you can either share internally or you can put an email address to share it externally. But like this statement, it totally based on your organizational policies. So if your organization block users from sharing it externally, then you will not be able to share it externally. So that is something you need to be aware of. The last statement is OneDrive for Business has no integration with Microsoft Teams. That is wrong. My OneDrive for Business is integrated with Teams, so you can share files over there, and you can use your OneDrive with Teams as well. So that is the wrong answer. If you want to know more about the Teams integration, please have a look into this particular link. The next question is trying to understand, do you know how does the file sharing work in OneDrive for Business? And what are the different link types are available? So it's a loaded question. It is trying to gauge your understanding about multiple aspects in a single question. So first and foremost, you need to understand that OneDrive for Business offers flexible file sharing option with different links and permissions, things like that. So let me populate the answer so that you get a lot of talking points. First, sharing with specific people. So you can create a link that can be only available to the recipient you put. You remember in the question, I think question number 42, I kind of showed you when you select a file, you click on the share button that allows you to create a link, and whoever the recipient you put in that box will be able to access it. That's the only person you are who can access it. That's one way of sharing it. That's a one type of link. Second, people in your organization. When you allow people in your organization setting or anyone within your company to open a file, then that technically means anyone with the access to that link which you shared, even it could be shared by you or someone resharing the link what you have shared. If you have selected the people in your organizational option, anyone within your organization will be able to access that particular piece of content. The third option is anyone with the link. So that's another option. So this you are granting public access if your admin have enabled that setting for you. Then anyone with that link will be able to access it. Finally, you have fine-grained controls which you can define to set view only or edit only rights. So view only will restrict a recipient from writing or modifying that file. They can't edit it. They can only read the file. When you give edit rights, the recipients can modify and reshare the file. So let me see if I can show you a few of that. So if I go into that OneDrive and select a file to share, these were the things what we are talking about. I can immediately copy this link. You can see that when I hover my mouse over there, it says that anyone with the link can edit. If I want to further control who can edit it, I can click on that cogwheel. Then it gives me ability to change. Anyone within the organization can use it, or people in my organization, or only people with existing access, or people you choose. And when you select any of this, you can make further addition as well. The more settings are the recipient can edit the file, or recipient can only view the file, or recipient can do either of those, but they can't make a copy of the file, so that they can't download a copy of it. And additionally, you can set expiry as well, so whatever you are sharing is going to expire after a particular day. So this is quite a lot of control which available for you to modify. While putting these users, you can add extra messages as well while sending it, so that goes as an email with the link to the recipient on accessing or downloading that file. So that is quite handy too. Let us look at question number 45. In this question, a company wants to prevent employees from accidentally deleting important files stored in OneDrive. So a couple of keywords here. One is you want to prevent employees from accidentally deleting these important files stored in OneDrive, and what are the features which can help. So first, let me populate the pointers so that you can use that to frame your sentence. First, by default, there is a recycle bin option. So what it does is when you delete a file from your OneDrive, you can always go to your recycle bin and restore it. I think it is stored more than 90 days. I might be wrong. You can actually go and check the latest number of days which is being kept in the recycle bin. Second option is second stage recycle bin. This is only admin controlled. So you can notify your administrators. Administrators can go in the backend and recover certain files if they have configured this second stage recycle bin. That is the second option. The second key point here is if the organization want to prevent that from happening, and if that happens they want to keep the data, then they can use the retention policies. So retention policies allows organization to configure these Microsoft 365 retention policies to prevent these file deletion for a specific period or a specific type, and whatever period they choose to. So if when you create these policies, this allows the organization to keep the emails or the documents from deleting or moving away from your organization. That's the second point. The third is, if you remember when I talked about SharePoint, we talked about the file versioning. So it allows you to go back to the previous version of the file. So it works kind of same in the OneDrive as well. So you can go back to the previous version of the file by looking into the file versioning. So let's see if I can show that in real time. So if I go and pick up any particular file, I don't know whether, let's pick this particular file, and it is opening in Word Online. So what you see over here is I just clicked on the file. I didn't even have to open in the Word file. I can open it. So if I want to open that in the Word file, I can right click or click, and you can say that open in the app or in a browser. So previously I just opened in the browser. Now I'm just going to open in the application. So that's how easy it is to configure. So when you do that, it allows you to, if this document has been modified quite a lot and you want to change or you want to track a previous version, you can click on the version history that shows the previous version of that as well. So you can see that there are multiple versions of it. I don't know what all the changes I made every time, but I can't highlight that, but you can see the different versions available here. This is called version history. And the recycle bin, you already know it. So if I minimize it, if I go to my OneDrive, and on the left hand side of my OneDrive you can see there is a recycle bin. So if any file I delete, it automatically goes into this folder and kept there for like a certain amount of time. So that's how you answer this particular question. Make sure you touch on these points like recycle bin, second stage recycle bin. If you want to flex it, show additional knowledge in terms of telling that, hey, admins can do the second stage recycle bin. This is probably will get you brownie points when you explain this. And talk about retention policy. You already know that retention policies help them keep the data for longer, and versioning, which we just saw. Question number 46. What is OneDrive known folder move, or KFM, and how does it benefit the organization? So first of all, you need to know what is this known folder move and how does it benefit. So let me populate the answer and let me help you understand it. First and foremost, the OneDrive has a functionality called known folder move, which enable users to sync their desktop documents, picture folder with OneDrive automatically. I don't know whether you remember, like when we started this section, I first went to, you can actually go back and actually watch that. I can't replicate that anymore. So I think the first question in the OneDrive, when I went into my lab device and launched OneDrive and put in my username and password, it asked me, hey, do you want to enable the automatic syncing for desktop documents and pictures? I clicked on let me do that later. I did not automatically enable it. So that is what is known as known folder move. When you enable or enforce it, it automatically keeps the backup copy of the desktop documents and pictures along with all the files you save in OneDrive. So if something happens, if your laptop, your organization laptops get corrupted, users will automatically get all the files which they stored in OneDrive for Business. Additionally, sometimes we do tend to save some of the files in desktops and documents and picture folder that is being backed up automatically as well. So I don't have to do anything to recover that. So what are the benefits? How do you explain that? So first and foremost, if you enable that, it ensures the files are backed up in the cloud. So it has lots of benefits. Second, it provides seamless access across devices. So if I go into another device or go into my mobile device, and if I go to my OneDrive, I can access the files which is stored in my picture folder or desktops as well. Third benefit is it reduces the data loss risk from hardware failure. This is exactly the example I used to explain this. So you can probably use this example as the overarching example to explain the whole thing. So if there is a hardware failure or corruption or data loss risk, if you have this non-folder move enabled, you are prevented from that. And finally, simplifies IT management, enforcing OneDrive storage and policies. So IT can define this policy so they don't have the headache of recovering the data using another tools and things like that. So that's how you answer this question using all of these points which I mentioned here. Let's look at question number 47. The question states that a user loses their company laptop, and how can IT ensure OneDrive files are not accessed by unauthorized user? That's a great question. So this is a security related or security conscious question. So you need to know what are the things you can put in place to make sure that if an unauthorized user get hold of the device, they are not getting hold of the data as well. So let me first populate the answer, then I'll explain it. First, you can admin, not you, admin can remotely wipe OneDrive data. So you can go to so if you are an administrator, you can go to your Microsoft Endpoint Manager or Intune, and then you can wipe your OneDrive data. So as soon as the employee notifies the organization that hey, they lost the device, they're worried about their company data on that device, then you can initiate this process. So even if they try to log into the device, they can't access the files. The second is revoke device access itself. Again, you can go to OneDrive admin center and you can see the devices and you can block that device from accessing. So anybody got hold of that device, try to open the OneDrive, it forces them to authenticate or they won't be able to access that application itself. So that's another option. Third, as a company, if you have configured require multi-factor authentication that anyway protect any unauthorized user from logging into a new device, because when they try to sign in, even if they know your password, it is going to ask for additional verification. It could be an authenticator verification, or it could be a phone call, or it could be a fingerprint or biometric, which the other person, unauthorized person, don't have. Only you have the second factor authentication with you. The fourth point which you can use is you can use conditional access policies. So this conditional access policies which allow us to create these policies based on location and various parameters. So you can create a policy state that hey, prevent access from any sort of untrusted location or unknown devices that will immediately prevent anybody from signing in with your to your device using your login details, things like that. So use the combination of any of this, one or two or all of that, to talk about or to land the answer for this particular question. So these are some of the great points to ensure IT that even if anybody loses their device, nobody can access the corporate data. Sometimes, I think most of the time, data is the most important asset for the company, not the hardware. Hardware cost can be mitigated because there is not too much damage it can do to an organization by losing a device. Of course, there is a monetary loss, but companies have insurance policies which they can use to claim the device which is been stolen or lost, things like that. But the sensitive information is the most important thing cared for every company. So using these combination of one of these or using all of that can give confidence to the organization that their data is not being leaked. All right, so we are moving into a new section now. In this section, we are going to go through Microsoft Teams. So I'm sure you know about Teams. If you don't know, Teams is a unified platform where you can chat or message someone or call someone, attend meetings, collaborate with other people in a team-based manner, upload files. Teams can do a lot of things. I've done a few videos. I'm sure you will be able to find plenty of information online to know more about Teams. So let's look at what are the questions we can expect on Teams as a beginner. So first and foremost, a question can be, hey, what is Microsoft Teams and how does it enhance workplace communication and collaboration? So that's a perfect start. So if you are fairly new to Teams, you will be able to understand what it is Teams. And if you are quite an expert on Teams, you can skip this question and move to the next one. So first and foremost, I just put down these points to tell you that, hey, Microsoft Teams is a unified communication and collaboration platform within Microsoft 365 that enables organization to chat. Chat is an instant messaging with individuals or group. You can either chat with a single person or you can invite a group of people and create a group chat, have a conversation, things like that. That's great. Second is meetings and calls. So Teams allow you for audio and video meetings with screen sharing and recording available. So you can quickly create a meeting, share that link with somebody, they can join the call, you can share your screen. During the same time, you can record the call, and this recording can be accessed post the meeting. You can even share the recording with other people who couldn't join, things like that. All of this can be done. Next, Teams allow you to collaborate on file or share files. So you can either store or collaborate files in real time using the SharePoint and OneDrive within the team option. So you can upload a file, you can modify it. Anything what you upload will automatically move into the SharePoint site, which is associated to that team site and things like that. What are the integration behind it? So you can connect with the third-party application, or it is already connected to the Power Automate. So you can create these custom bots or applications and you can bring that into Teams. That's like a pretty advanced stage. So Teams can be a platform where you can have different applications doing your business process automations type of work as well. So if you are not comfortable, don't talk about it. I'm reluctant to talk more about the integration because that's quite advanced. We can cover that in the advanced interview question. And finally, touch upon the point that enterprise grade security and data encryption, retention policies, and access control are built into Teams. So you can be safely deploy Teams within your organization because it takes care of all the security and governance and the compliance aspect of it. So use all of these points to explain Team, particularly talk about these three things like personal chat, group chat, meetings, calls, audio video calls, conferences, screen sharing, recording aspect of meetings, file sharing, collaboration, things like that. So use all of that points to frame your answer. Question number 49. Here, a project team needs a dedicated space for discussions, file sharing, task tracking. How can Microsoft Team help? So here the interviewer is trying to explore or push you to the boundary to understand how much you know about Teams. Apart from doing these calls and meetings and recording, do you know a bit more beyond that? So let me first populate the answer. So first of all, Teams allow you to create a team. So that is quite confusing. It's called team. So let me first show you and then you understand. So let me first go to my lab. If I go to my lab and open Teams, launch Teams app, sign in with your organizational ID. So when you go under Teams, you can see that on the left hand side. All right, so I just expanded it. So no, all right. So when you go under Teams, when you click on Teams, you can see that there are these teams available. So you can quickly go and create a team for um, the collaboration, what you're trying to do. You can name a team, you can make it private or public. When you create a team, it looks like this. You can have different channels within it. So this is a team for product development. It has a general channel talks about general stuff. There are other channels with a lot of information. So these channels can be different discussion points where they can come in and like upload a file, and everyone who's got access to this particular folder can access that file. They can interact with it. They can have threaded conversation and things like that. So that is what I mean by teams. Now let me go back to the presentation. So you can first of all create a team. So that's the team I mean within Teams. Second, you can use channels for topic discussion. I just kind of showed you. So once you create the team, there are sub channels you can create. These can be for general announcement or project update or client discussions, things like that. And the third point which you can use is you can collaborate on files. I showed you there is a tab available within Teams when you create team, and within channel, each channel have a tab available called files. So any files which you upload or use within that channel will be automatically used or updated in that particular file. The fourth point is track task with planner and list. So Teams have additional application. Let me quickly show you. If I go back to the Teams, so when you click on this plus icon, this allows you to bring in whiteboard or planner or forms or power apps and so many things. So if you want to add this planner, all you have to do is click on save. Now you have this planner built into your Teams channel. Now you can track your particular project, and you can create a new plan and use this template. And now all of a sudden you have a place to keep track of a particular project and assign a task to a particular user and things like that. So that is what I meant by using track task with planner and list. So now, how do you answer this question? Of course, you need to first of all say that yes, it is possible. You can create teams and channel. Additionally, you can tell that, hey, more than that, you can collaborate on files on real time. That is something which you can flex your knowledge. And then you can tell that, hey, there is additional option to add different applications like planner or list or more application, which will either further enhance a space for discussion, collaboration, file sharing, and task tracking, things like that. So that's how you answer this question. Let's look at question number 50. Which of the following is not a capability of Microsoft Teams? So we are doing deduction here. First, hosting virtual meetings with breakout rooms. Yes, like I said, you can use Teams for team meetings and things like that. Along with that, there is option for webinar, town halls, live events, which will allow you to do breakout rooms and things like that. So that is a functionality. Next, email encryption and spam filtering. It is possible, not under Teams, it is possible on Exchange Online. We kind of covered this topic. So if you are just watching this particular section, and if you want to know about email filtering and spam filtering and how to do that, we covered that sort of a question in the Exchange Online section. The third is integrating third-party application like Trello and Slack. 100% possible. There is options available which you can use to integrate with third-party application to move the data, or integrating and working seamlessly with two different applications. The fourth point is creating live events for large audiences. If you remember, I talked about different types of meetings you can organize. One of that is live events or town halls, which can cater multiple users for these meetings. So let's look at the answer for this question. So the right answer is the email encryption and spam filtering. That is not the feature of Teams. It is a functionality of Exchange Online.